One mod that pretty much all of you watching right now should download is the patch 2.1 Finisher's Fix. With the new update, something broke, so when performing a melee finisher, only this slow-mo version will trigger. Every time you do a finisher, you'll get this one. Or download this mod that'll fix that, and you could use a variety of finishers once again. And also make sure you grab the Kusanagi Neon Rims bug fix. With patch 2.1, the neon rims on this bike would no longer turn on, but this mod of course fixes that, so you could ride around doing wheelies in style once again. But okay, that was some of the smaller stuff. The big change with patch 2.1 that I know many of you are desperately wanting reverted or fixed was Sonic Shock no longer preventing trace. Previously, this quick hack was the key to being a stealthy netrunner in Night City, because as long as you uploaded it, enemies wouldn't know where you were hacking them from and could not trace your location. With patch 2.1, this became bugged, so enemies could immediately trace you even if you uploaded Sonic Shock first. Thankfully, almost immediately modders have added the functionality back in and resolved this issue. So if you download the Sonic Shock Prevents Trace mod, this will restore the previous functionality, meaning that as long as you upload Sonic Shock first, enemies will no longer be able to trace you. It is a bit of a workaround as the trace will just immediately fail, but thankfully CDPR has confirmed that this is a bug, so hopefully it'll be fixed in the next update officially. But thankfully, even outside of those bug fixes, modders have been adding in some incredible new features building off of patch 2.1. In this video, we're going to look at some imperative quality of life mods. If you're a netrunner or even just casually use quick hacks in Cyberpunk, trust me, some of these mods are a serious game changer, but also I know my audience. I know you guys want to see some of those crazy romance overhauls, and modders have even fixed one of the biggest complaints with Phantom Liberty, which we'll look at with this video. But look, I get it. Night City can be a dark and unforgiving place, and you're looking for that brighter tomorrow. So instead, would you like to have your bank account drained by a mysterious faction and be forced to go head-to-head with an adapting AI to get your money back? Well, if so, today's video sponsor, Payday 3 and the new Syntax Error DLC is for you. But hey, the AI has feelings too. They'll be both hilarious and horrifying as their own character during the heist.
Hostage taking is futile. I do not negotiate.
And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get some brand new weapons and cosmetics to keep the crew looking fresh as you steal that cutting-edge drone OS. So if you're looking forward to being harassed by AI in your free time, use that link below to get Payday 3's Syntax Error DLC today. But then we have this atrocity. This menu has been frustrating netrunners for years. Despite what this section may suggest, the order by which quick hacks appear in this menu is reverse chronological. Because yeah, that obviously makes sense. What that means is the order you place the quick hacks in this menu doesn't actually matter. But the last quick hack you slot in, regardless of where you slot it in, will always appear at the top of this list. The second quick hack will be the second to last one, and so on. That's just needlessly confusing, but modders have already fixed that with the quick hack sort by slot mod. So now quick hacks will appear in slotted order. The top option here is the top option in combat. And this is really nice because it also allows you to properly change out quick hacks on the fly, and you can just do this one at a time right in the middle of combat if you want to. It's truly a gigantic quality of life change, especially with the quick hack queue feature that was added with patch 2.0. But perhaps even more handy is quick hack loadouts. You can see this off to the side here. This will allow you to save and load loadouts of quick hacks. So simply assign them in the order you want and then save it. And then you'll always have the ability to load that quick hack set. And this too can be done mid-combat for some awesome effectiveness. You can switch between loadouts of being a full-on combat netrunner to more of a support netrunner, where you just want to disable and impede enemies. Or even just going from stealth to full-on guns blazing. But how about some fully custom quick hacks? Custom Blackwall Quick Hacks is an epic new mod that adds in 2 brand new quick hack options where you can use the Blackwall to insta-kill one or multiple enemies at a time. And you can even use this on vehicles to instantly destroy them. This is not added to your cyber deck, but instead you must use a custom hotkey, and from there, once pointing at an enemy or vehicle, you can upload a Blackwall Quick Hack. This will either be a single or multi-target version, so almost like Contagion, it'll impact several enemies if you use the multi-target one. This of course is tied into Phantom Liberty on a high level. I won't go into spoilers here, but you could probably notice this will make you the ultimate netrunner, being able to one-shot just about everything. Thankfully, it does have a full-on configuration menu, so you can make it somewhat balanced, like making it cost 100 HP every time you use it, and even assigning a long cooldown if you want. But just from the novelty perspective, it's a really epic mod. I never realized how badly I want custom and unique quick hacks added to the game. But then, getting into some of the mods I know you guys actually want, we have Romance Hangouts Enhanced, and this will add in a variety of quality of life features to those new hangouts added with patch 2.1. One of the major things added in by this one is choice and replayability. In vanilla Cyberpunk, you could only interact with your partner one action at a time, but with this mod, you have all kinds of actions available right from the onset and really whenever you want to use them while cuddling. cuddling. You can kiss, you can caress, and more. And this mod also adds in the functionality of being able to repeat this over and over again freely, as opposed to the more limited vanilla selection. This will apply to each of the major romance options that you can invite to your apartment, and now with some of the more recent updates to this mod does apply to all of the major apartments available. So it creates this nice dynamic where you could truly feel like you're on a date with your partner. Hang out for a bit on the couch, cuddling together, then maybe take a shower together, to resume hanging out on the couch for even longer and going through all of these actions again. This loop is typically not possible in vanilla Cyberpunk 2077. There's some totally new actions, like some new dances with new choices, these being a bit different and a bit quicker if you want them, using the alternative dance animations. And this mod will even open up hangouts to the non-vanilla option. So if you're a male V, you can invite Judy over to your apartment if you'd like. But what was easily one of the largest complaints from Phantom Liberty was the complete lack of romances. Although thankfully that all changes today with Aurora Romanced. Do you remember that big party during Phantom Liberty where you must interrogate these two siblings? And there's definitely some tension between V and Aurora as drinks flow and the flirting ensues. Well, if you have this mod installed, it'll change up the quest a bit. So as Aurora gets up close to you, she was actually slipping you a key to her hotel room. And in turn, immediately after finishing the You Know My Name quest, which is the one with the party, a new quest will begin where you can drive to Aurora's hotel and have a full-fledged romance scene with her. This is all very much so a one-night stand. There isn't anything in the way of new or additional dialogue, but honestly, I think this makes Phantom Liberty even better in an odd way. It's very much so a casual romance encounter, almost the one that two adults who just met at a party while gambling together would have. But for those of you that did play through the rest of this DLC and know where the story goes, I think you could almost immediately see how this would make the following events even more interesting and more impactful. But if you are feeling lonely in Night City, you may be also interested in Lizzie's Brain Dances. This mod will add in a new vendor in Lizzie's bar where you can pay to use a variety of brain dances, and these will effectively be a way to replay the various romance scenes in specific locales. There are a few mods doing things like this, but this is definitely the most immersive and lore friendly, as literally all you're doing is paying to use a brain dance and then experiencing that brain dance, which just so happens to be one of the romance scenes you may have had already. But if you are looking for ways to make the game even more visually appealing, I got you covered there as well. Preem LUT is one of the newest visual overhauls that will really strengthen the core colors in Cyberpunk 2077. This overhaul will turn down things like bloom and sharpening, making many of the scenes in Night City just a bit clearer. There's less pop and more of just a general focus on the scene as a whole, as opposed to individual colors dominating it. You can see in a lot of these before and after comparisons that the color focus is more evenly distributed with this mod installed. And while driving around Night City, I think creates a very pretty aesthetic with some of these signs popping as you pass by them, but just not quite as strong before, and it feels like that overall chaos of Night City was toned down a bit. It's also just going to make nights much darker, which I personally think is a really nice touch. But if that wasn't quite your speed, there's also Nova LUT from the same mod author and also which just came out. This overhaul definitely has some of the same bonuses and benefits of Preem LUT, but even further, it'll attempt to make Night City a bit more lifelike, with colors being a bit more striking, but not quite as overbearing. I definitely noticed a much larger degree of contrast in the color palette with this mod installed. Some things are incredibly bright, and especially during some night scenes, you can feel the difference as you're adventuring around. I think Nova LUT looks best while you're actually playing. Like, some of these before and afters are cool or interesting, but my favorite moments with this mod were while I was driving around and just looking at this refined color space. You can notice this in Night City, in the Badlands, and also in Dogtown. It almost felt like each of these various areas had their own feel depending on what time of day it was. So now, of course, both of these mods will be incredibly subjective. There's a bunch of other lighting and visual mods out there as well, but if you're looking to expand things even further, I got you covered. One curious change CDPR made with patch 2.1 is no longer allowing you to have unbound keys. So if any action had no hotkey assigned, it would prevent saving that setup. Thankfully, the mod Allow Unbound Actions fixes that, so you could once again have unbound keys for your specific setup. Obviously, this may be a very niche feature, but for those impacted, this is pretty game-changing, as you quite literally can't use the same controls as you could in patch 2.0. And what has quickly become one of my favorite of the smaller mods for Cyberpunk 2077, we also have Second Heart Fix. By default, the Second Heart cyberware revives you on death, and it's honestly pretty straightforward. You die and then come back to life, and enemies will just stay aggroed at you the entire time. But with this mod, a couple of things change. Firstly, there's going to be 2 animations now. If you die, but second heart is activating, so you'll be revived, you're going to fall forward and basically fall face first, holding yourself up and then eventually picking yourself back up, as opposed to just falling on your back, which is how it works when you die, and typically how it works when you activate second heart in vanilla Cyberpunk. But even further, since it appears you are literally dying, like all of the enemies see you falling to the ground to your death, all of the enemies around you will also revert from a combat state to just an alert state and even begin walking off. So as you're reviving, you'll have a couple of seconds to reposition yourself or even escape as enemies will re-engage with you. It's a super small mod, but I think both of these additions make the cyberware way more usable and just a more fun addition overall. With that said, if you enjoyed this one, you'll probably also like this video where we go over some of the secret features added into Cyberpunk 2077 with patch 2.1.